What's the difference between a roti and a paratha? Is yogurt different from curd? Are papad and fryams really all that different? No, these aren't off-brand philosophy questions. Unfortunately, these are all too real, troubling tax issues under India's GST regime. The issue of GST on food items has again made headlines following an interaction last week between FM Nirmala Sitharaman and industry participants in Coimbatore. During the interaction, the owner of a restaurant chain, in a now viral video, appealed to the FM to look into the diverse GST rates that are applied on different food items that can often appear on the same bill. He lamented that there is a 5% GST on sweets but 12% on savories and gave examples like 18% GST on cream-filled buns, whereas there is no GST on plain buns. He even commented that his customers often ask for buns and cream to be sold separately, saying that they would put the cream themselves. This attracted much laughter from the audience and even from the FM. But the issue is far from a laughing matter, with many restaurants across the country receiving tax demands and notices from the GST authorities for undercharging and underpaying GST due to confusion over issues like these. As the system stands today, understanding the GST rates on food items would require bringing together elements from various courses taught in universities, from marketing and public policy to physics, chemistry, and even economics. The thing is, it's all about location, location, location. Any food or drink, except alcoholic drinks, that is served in a normal restaurant attracts 5% GST. However, if the food or drink is served in a restaurant that's within a hotel that charges room rates of rupees 7,500 a night or more, then the GST rate on the food is 18%. So, in reality, the issue raised by the restaurant owner in front of the FM wouldn't exist if he was talking about food sold at his restaurants for consumption then and there. All of it would be at a uniform 5% GST. But not all restaurants limit themselves to just that. Many also incorporate in-restaurant stores where pre-packaged food items can be purchased. And that's where the real complexity lies. So, if you were to eat a paratha at the restaurant, you'd be charged GST of 5%, unless it was at an expensive hotel restaurant, of course. Yet, if you bought a pre-packaged packet of those same parathas from the in-restaurant store, on your way out, you'd pay 18% GST. Incidentally, believe it or not, there's also a factor of physics and food chemistry that comes into play in GST rate classifications. For example, a packet of rotis or chapatis attracts a GST rate of 5%, while a packet of parathas, even plain ones, will be taxed at 18%. Why? Because they're chemically different and one needs heat to be edible while the other doesn't. This matter was discussed in extensive detail by the GST authorities in Gujarat in 2021 and 2022. The Gujarat Authority for Advance Ruling in 2021 passed an order that chapatis and parathas were different for the purposes of GST. The matter was appealed, and so the state's Appellate Authority for Advance Ruling had to examine the matter in 2022. What the AAR found was that the packaging on paratha packets said that it would take 3 to 4 minutes to heat the parathas for them to change color and to be fit for human consumption. Rotis and chapatis, on the other hand, can be eaten right out of the packet. So it ruled that packaged parathas would be taxed at 18% and packaged rotis at 5%. The interplay of packaging and physics even affects something as ubiquitous and essential as water. Normal unpackaged water attracts no GST. Yet, if it's sold in a bottle smaller than 20 liters in size, it attracts 18% GST. If the bottle is 20 liters or larger, the rate is 12%. There also seems to be some difference when it comes to the temperature of the water. If you cool the water before selling it to the point that it becomes ice or snow, then it would be taxed at 5%. Yet, if you heat it till it becomes steam, it is taxed at 12%. According to tax experts, the driving idea behind GST rates is who is consuming what. That is, since it's a consumption-based tax, the idea is to tax items of mass consumption at lower rates and those consumed by the relatively more affluent people at higher rates. This ideology has meant that curd is taxed differently from yogurt. According to the GST system, unpackaged and unlabeled curd is taxed at 0 GST. If it is pre-packaged and labeled, then it attracts 5% GST. Yet, if an item is classified as yogurt or other fermented or acidified milk and cream, it'll attract a GST rate of 5% regardless of whether it's pre-packaged or not. According to a GST official ThePrint spoke to, curd is something that is an item of mass consumption, but yogurt is something that usually only the richer segments of the population eat. Similarly, the official explained that papad was consumed by the general public and so was taxed at 0%. However, similar items but in packaged form, which are generally called fryams, were apparently bought by wealthier people and so were taxed at 18%. A lack of clarity on this issue has proven expensive for some restaurants. For example, the GST authorities in Rajasthan in 2023 found substantial GST evasion by a restaurant in Sikar, which apparently had classified yogurt as curd and had charged the lower GST rate. The authority in its order went into considerable detail on the difference between curd and yogurt. It all comes down to chemistry again, and even some biology. Curd, the order said, is made by coagulating milk with edible acids like lemon juice and vinegar in a process known as curdling, made by fermenting milk with the help of lactic acid bacteria, which reacts with a protein in milk to produce lactic acid, which then goes on to denature the other proteins in milk to form curd. Yogurt, on the other hand, uses live strains of two types of bacteria, the authority said, and is practically impossible to make at home. Its words, not mine. The bacteria reacts with the sugar present in milk, the authority further explained, which produces lactic acid, resulting in the formation of yogurt. So the last part of this process is the same. The difference is in the bacteria that is used, apparently. Other differences include nutritional content, the presence or absence of sweeteners or coloring. Apparently, curd is only unsweetened. Who makes it? Curd is made at home or by local vendors at low quantities, while yogurt is more prone to industrial scale production. And their shelf life. Curd has a lower shelf life than yogurt. At least that's what the order said. The restaurant in question had allegedly sold yogurt as curd, resulting in a total GST evasion of rupees 2.82 crore over 5 years from July 2017 to July 2022. Then we come to the question of what makes a restaurant a restaurant. In 2021, the GST Council decided that ice cream parlors were not the same as restaurants. Ice cream parlors simply sell already manufactured ice cream, whereas restaurants cook the food that they sell. So the ice cream sold in parlors would attract 18% GST, while the ice cream sold in a restaurant as dessert would be taxed at 5%. This raised all kinds of still unanswered questions. What happens if an ice cream parlor is located in a food court? What happens if a niche parlor makes its own ice cream and sells it? What happens to a restaurant that has its food cooked by a third party? This confusion continues today, with newspapers reporting as recently as August this year that several bakeries have received notices from the GST authorities because they had been paying GST at 5% as if they were restaurants, when in fact they are not. They should be paying GST at 18%, the Directorate General of Goods and Services Tax Intelligence, FED. In reply to the restaurant owner's comments last week, FM Sitaraman had said that the complexities in GST on food items would be looked into as part of the broader review that's already underway on the scope for rationalizing GST rates overall. Looks like such a review couldn't come too soon. But on that note, that's all from me. Thank you for watching.